Hey Dan, thank you so much for having us today here at DFW Discovered. We're happy to be here and we're happy to spotlight your business called Weinberger. I heard a lot of great things about Weinberger from a lot of different people, so I'm really happy to be here to support your business. So tell us a little bit, Dan, about why you started and how you started Weinberger.
I appreciate you being here. So Weinbergers has been around since 2002. I was a consultant for lots of years in the food industry. After 9/11, the careers changed, and so my wife and I decided that we were going to open up a deli in this area. And we looked in South Lake, we looked in Grapevine for a location, settled on this spot here, opened up as a full-fledged deli. My family had delis from the 1950s.
Wow.
So it's a family tradition, as we tell everybody. And so we opened up, and honestly, did not have very much success at first. But I mean, Grapevine was a younger city then, and just wasn't ready for what we were featuring. I mean, in Dallas would have gone well, Fort Worth would have gone well, but Grapevine was just mediocre. And we struggled our first couple of years, but we found out that what we really excelled in were the sandwiches. And so we've kind of morphed into what we are today. Even though it's Weinberger's Deli, it's pretty much Weinberger's Sandwich Deli. And so here we are today with 20 years later. We've been listed in numerous magazines as the best of, newspapers. We've been on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, the Race Channel, just for all the things that we've done over the past several years. In fact, MSN had us as they list the best delis in all 50 states, and Texas, they had us as the #1 deli for Texas.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't know that. That's great news. So I noticed walking in here, you've got a menu that's a mile long. And some of the sandwiches that I see up there remind me of my childhood days living in the Northeast. I see some of these sandwiches kind of remind me of the Northeast. Now, can you give me a little background about where you're from?
Well, I'm from Chicago originally, and of course we opened up as pretty much a Chicago-style eatery.
Chicago Bears, right?
We have the Bears coming there, and what happened was that the sandwiches that we would create obviously had a northern influence to them. Through my career, having grown up in the industry, my father, when I was growing up, I worked from the age of 11 until I was college age, and I swore I would never get into the food business after college. Turned out that after graduating from college and working on different master's programs, I found out that I really excelled when I took culinary courses. So I became a certified cook, not a chef. I never did get the degree for it, but I took every culinary course, but my focus were in sandwiches. And one of the things that was interesting was that in the culinary world, where they teach you to make a sandwich, is almost the opposite of what they teach you in the deli world. And I would have these discussions with the chefs. And sidebar here, in the culinary world, there's le chef c'est moi, le chef n'a jamais tort. I am the chef is never wrong. So no matter what I would tell them, I was not a chef. So be it as it may be, you could take 5 elements for a sandwich. I'd take the same 5 elements. And the way that we were brought up, we would make the same sandwich completely different. And it would have a modicum difference as far as the flavor, and I think that's construction. And so here I am years later, developing these sandwiches. Now, obviously, there's very few sandwiches that you can actually create, because everybody over the past 100 years has pretty much come across every combination you could possibly think of. My job is to take that sandwich, which has been hashed and rehashed over the past 70, 80 years, and make it fresh again for people to enjoy.
Right.
I mean, you don't screw with things that are, iconic, but you can give them a new breath of life. You can tweak them a bit, and that's what I pretty much do with my sandwiches, which is, basically the sandwiches that we've come up with here are derivatives of a lot of sandwiches. I mean, I could talk for hours on this, honestly I can, but I mean, just Italian subs.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me your favorite again.
Mine's the salami, provolone, chicken. I'm sorry, ham and lettuce, tomato, oil, and vinegar.
Okay,
That's
simple,
my
right?
simple sandwich that I've loved since I was a kid.
Okay, did you know that there's, for an Italian sub, they're all the same. Every Italian sub you come across is all the same. It all has bread, cheese, deli meat, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, dressing.
Yeah.
Out of that are thousands and thousands of combinations of subs. You can do most of them are bologna, salami, and ham, right? Mm-hmm. But you can have bologna, you can have mortadella, you can have Lebanon bologna, you can use for the salami, Genoa salami, hard salami, kosher salami. For the ham, you can use capicola, prosciutto, boiled ham, chopped ham, tavern ham. So, you can create these different sandwiches, and of course, Subway comes along and they create the turkey, the roast beef, but all under the sub.
So you started talking about sandwiches. There's another sandwich that I grew up eating, and that was prosciutto, mozzarella, and roast beef with some red peppers.
Actually, we have a sandwich similar to that. It's called Teddy's Lunch, and basically it's an Italian herb focaccia that we garlic toast, and then it has a layer of buffalo mozzarella with roast beef on it, and then we grill
sounds delicious.
capicola on top of it, rather than the prosciutto. Capicola, which is another style of ham, right?
Yep.
And it's got a thin ribbon of basil mayo between the roast beef and the capicola, with just a wisp of Naglia, Joclia powder or Reaper powder, either one.
Yeah.
It's like just a very heavy, a very light dusting of this. And I don't know if you're familiar with those peppers, but they have like a 2 million Scoville rating to them.
Oh dear.
But if you use just a dusting of it, it actually magnifies the flavor of everything.
That sounds strong.
You will get a little heat, not a lot of heat, but what it does is it magnifies the flavor.
Interesting.
You can actually separate the capicola and the roast beef and tell the difference. But then it's got a little roasted red pepper on it, lettuce, tomatoes, pickled onions, and then an olive mix with olive oil and Italian seasoning.
Nice.
A little over the top, but it works, and that's the whole nature of it.
That's great.
The combinations have to work.
Yeah. So you talked about a picture on your wall of menu here, and you talked about it, you being your dad, and your brother, and you sitting on your dad's lap there. That picture just has so many memories, and I can imagine the stories that come just from that picture alone. Tell me a little bit about your experience with your dad and your brother.
My father started these delis back in 1952. I was born that year, so I'll be 70 this year. But that picture was maybe taken 2 years after he opened his first shop. He was a apprentice butcher with A&P, wanted to pick up a little extra cash. He opened up a chicken parts store. And there was a guy down the street from my father who did not like my father, which was very unusual. Everybody loved my dad, but this particular guy did not like my father. So he would sell chicken parts cheaper than my father could buy them, and tried to put them out of business. Well, my dad's customers said, you need to pick up different types of elements in your shop, pastrami, corned beef. My father didn't know any of this stuff. He applied at a deli on the south side of Chicago as an apprentice.
Right.
Got the job, went in. The guy who owned the deli happened to have delis from the 1920s in Chicago.
Oh, wow, over 100 years ago.
His name is Ray Marcotte.
Okay.
Ray, his son Mel is a very famous restaurateur in Chicago. So anyhow, my dad learned the business from Ray, and what my father learned from Ray, my father taught me. So the sandwiches I create are actually sandwiches that are from a throwback over 100 years ago.
Wow, that's so cool. Man, this has been such a great time spending time here with you, and I'm looking forward to having one of those sandwiches that I just ordered. So we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to get some food together, and we'll get some sandwiches here in a little bit. So.
Sounds great.
So thanks again for visiting DFW Discovered here. John Picinic, Sales Manager, Trinity Oaks Mortgage. If there's anybody you know that could use a refinance or purchase a new home and need some financing, please give my team a call at 817-846-2800. Or you can visit my website at www.mortgagesbyjohn.com. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.